Hey, it's Pete from Abstract Ocean. Today we're going to install a Rivian emblem on the front here on the light strip. So it's made up of satin black vinyl, and then obviously when the light strip is on, the word mark shines through. So it's a really easy installation. The one thing to note is that we're going to do a wet installation. So in the box you'll get a little squirter with some soap already in there, so you just need to add some water to make your slip solution. Squeegee, and then obviously the vinyl itself. So what we're going to do now is apply it, and then we do need to leave it overnight because we want the slip solution completely dry, and I'll explain why once it's on here, but removing the carrier sheet, which maintains the integrity of the letters, requires it to be quite dry behind there. So that's what we're going to do. Before I get started, just want to give an honourable mention to our hook covers. So these are silicone. They just snap on and off like that. These are coming soon, so at the time of recording, which is middle of June, we should have these by late July in yellow and black, so they just add a cool look. And I should mention that we do also have the tint on the lights as well. I've taken it off the light strip already. This is I think I got the 50% VLT, visible light transmission tint on the front here. That's also something we sell. If you wanted to combine this with what we're about to do here, you can. The vinyl will go on first, and then you would add the PPF, paint protection film, over the top of it. All right, so with all that said, let's get prepped. All right, I've got my handy little stool. So the first thing I'm going to do is prep the area, just make sure there's no bug splats. Obviously, there's high likelihood that you do have some bug remnants on this. So for this, I'm just going to use some isopropyl just from Walgreens or CVS or wherever, Target. Just to kind of give it a really good clean up. Some shop rags. And this is important because you don't want anything behind the vinyl, obviously. Any little, even the tiniest speck will show through. So we want this squeaky clean. And the way the vinyl is cut, it covers obviously the visible light area and goes over just a little bit, but not much. So the application is super easy because we're doing a wet application. It just kind of slips around until you find the right position. But you do want to make sure you've got the light bar covered. So at some point I'll jump in the car, light this up just to make sure that the vinyl is positioned correctly. All right, so now we're going to grab our soap solution. The one tip with this is don't be shy with it, just use loads of it. You can't have too much. And then I'm going to grab this. So just so you can lay it out, that's what it's going to look like. So I'm going to peel it back quite carefully and slowly. And with each kind of peel, I'm just going to spray it with the slip solution as well. Oops, let's put that there. And when you get to the letters, we have this carrier sheet over the top, hopefully you can see that on the camera, to maintain the integrity, especially on the A and the R. But you want to make sure you just peel it really quite slowly on those so that the vinyl comes away without stretching. Okay, we're going to keep going. So go carefully on the A. And then on the R, that's pretty good. Okay, one last spray in the end. Okay, another quick spray here, just to get things evaporated. Make it nice and wet. And then we're just going to lay this on top like that. And then we're going to just slide it around. So I'm looking at this edge. There's a radius all the way around, obviously the light strip. So I just want to get right up close to the radius, but not go into it because the vinyl, we don't want to wrap the vinyl around the corner. That's just an unnecessary complication. Then over here, I'm looking at the same thing. So it should be right up against the edge, but you shouldn't be able to feel the lip of the vinyl. So let me just slide it this way just a tad. That is pretty good. Okay, and I'm going to go turn the light on so I can make sure that we've got everything covered up. But on this top edge, you just want to kind of follow the rotation or the radius of the top of the light strip. Okay. Alright, so now I'm going to get down at eye level, and you can see I've got a little bit of bleed at the bottom here, so this whole thing just needs to come down just a little bit, like so. There we go. Again, let's check these edges, all good. Check on the top, that's all good. This way just a tad. Okay, so when you're happy with the position, got no light leak across here, nothing across the top, I'm going to grab the squeegee. And just very gently, if you apply too much pressure, you're just going to drag it around, so you don't want to do that. But we're sort of going to semi-finalise the install and get the bulk of the slip solution out from underneath. If you have any bubbles or anything, then just work them out. This is, you know, a pretty flat surface, so in terms of vinyl, it's very, very easy to work with. And then as I kind of work out here, I'm just going to sort of gently work out some of the solution, but holding it in place as well at the same time. So you will be at this stage tempted to go ahead and remove this. If you do, you're just going to pull the vinyl away. Even if you do it really carefully, when you get to this bit here and this bit here, it's going to stretch. So you really do just have to be patient. So having done 80% of the work, we are now going to leave this overnight, and we'll be back tomorrow to remove this and complete the installation.
The next day.
Alright, so it's the next day. We'll see that this is mostly dried off. So what we're going to do first, these few air bubbles, they're not important, but we're just going to work out a few that we can. And this helps kind of get any last moisture from behind here. And just make sure, again, these pieces, kind of the slightly detached pieces of vinyl, are properly adhered to the light strip behind. And this is just a really nice visual to see where your air bubbles are, but we'll certainly finish up once we've actually removed the carrier film. This is just a good extra step. You can just work them towards any opening, including the leathers. Alright, so now we're going to take the squeegee in one hand. I'm just going to start peeling away. Remember I said we're going to peel away from the top right corner because that provides sort of the easiest path, or the path of least resistance when we get to these awkward pieces on the A and the R. And then as you're doing it, just kind of keep an eye on it. Expect the vinyl to potentially lift away just a little bit. It just depends how dry it is. But if it does, then just use the non-furry edge just to kind of hold everything in place. But we're just going to go real slow, especially over the A. Keep an eye on that middle piece. And then with the R. Alright, so really no drama there at all. So you'll see it's still got some moisture to it. So now we're just going to work across that with the furry side of the squeegee. And then we're going to pay attention to this top edge as well. Just make sure that's rolled over. We don't want any dirt or grime getting behind that. Obviously this is a fairly well abused area at the front of the trunk. It's pretty good. I'm just going to grab, you can kind of clean it up with anything. I'm just grabbing some alcohol spray just to kind of finish it up, and a clean rag just to get rid of the soap more than anything. And there you go. If I go to turn that on, that's me. Just turn off the lights for a sec. All right, so you'll see that looks pretty good. There's no light bleed from underneath, which is important. Tiny bit up here, but really not very noticeable. But that's how it looks. All right, so there's a cool head-on shot of how it looks when everything's lit up and the installation's finished. Thanks for watching.